Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Welcome to TPL Live. This is the Sixers versus Nets post-game show. We're going to talk about our top takeaways. We're going to do our player of the game. Probably not Sixers, but we will also be doing grades. Let's talk about joining us tonight, my man Joey, who was with us during the watch party all night long. Follow him on Twitter at JoeyD_6. Joey, hanging in there, buddy.
That wasn't fun.
Man, after a game where the Sixers put up their highest offensive rating, their best effective field goal percentage, their best pace, we get this. And it was a third game in a 4-night stretch. It was the back end of a back-to-back. We all kind of expected it, but this is Doc Rivers. This team comes out prepared. This team has one of the best point differentials in the first half. This is a different Sixers. Not so much. Also joining us today is my man Tiago. Follow him on Twitter at tscabia. Check out all of his content over at thepaintlines.com. Tiago, how you doing, man?
I think one thing that night teaches us is that you can take the old Sixers from the roster, but you can't take the old Sixers from the Sixers. And that's just the Sixers being the Sixers, man. That's all this is tonight. You know, we saw that way too often last year. And it's just reared its ugly head again tonight.
Yeah.
You would coming from a mile away.
Yeah,
exactly. We saw this coming, man.
You could just put Brett Brown on the sideline and you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know any different. Let's talk about top takeaways. I kind of threw into it. You talk about a team that has just been in cruise control offensively, the spacing, the ball handling, everyone looking cohesive. That's Seth Curry being not on the court for the starting lineup had a trickle-down effect across the board. You saw it from the jump. This team was sloppy. They were sluggish. They were a half a step behind the entire game. How many missed wide-open shots do we see over and over again? How many times did we see Joel Embiid or Tobias Harris throw the ball away, unforced turnovers? It was a really difficult game to watch. That's what we're talking about, the Brett Brown stuff. What about you, Joey? What's one of your takeaways?
I mean, I think you pretty much hit on everything. I mean, that was a pretty lethargic effort on both ends of the court there. I mean, on the offensive end, you had so many unforced errors, so many bad entry passes, so many just lazy passes in general. I mean, Joel just didn't assert himself until the last minute of the game. Ben looked terrible, as I'm sure Thiago will talk about in great detail. Just the post-ups Ben post-ups need to stop. Tobias came down to earth tonight. And the only real upside on the offensive end was Shake, who had a pretty decent game. I believe he had 22 on 7 of 11 from the field, which you'll take that any given day. And then defensively, it was terrible. Not closing out, not shutting down the passing lanes, just not going after boards. It was just a very, very – they looked depressed out there. They looked like they just did not want to be playing that game tonight.
They look like –
and as we all should have expected this.
Do they play like us right now? Because that's how I feel.
Yes.
This one just obviously, no joke, this is one of those games, just like the Cleveland Cavaliers game, you just throw out, head home, burn the tape, move on. What about you, Tiago? What's one of your takeaways?
Yeah, to ask Tobias Harris to complete a pass in transition is like to ask to hit a lottery because he's such a bad passer, man. It's unbelievable. Ben is cutting, and it's an easy oop, and he throws the ball 5 feet over the rim. It's incredible. We talked about this before the post-game show around Ben Simmons. And listen, there's going to be a lot of takes, as there usually are when the Sixers play poorly, around Ben and his ability to shoot a jump shot, blah, 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 blah. I'm not concerned about the jump shot. I've never been. I don't think Ben Simmons is ever going to be a shooter in the NBA, which is fine. Other guys aren't and are phenomenal players. And I think Ben can easily fit into that mold. But some of the things that I'm starting to see with Simmons that have not improved in his career is his ability to finish consistently around the rim. So we talked about that before the game. It's his downhill attack and reliability on his strength. So he's not a guy who has a lot of wiggle. He's not a guy who has a lot of, finesse around the rim. And his game is molded in a similar fashion of LeBron James. LeBron James is a powerful guy downhill. He uses his strength and athleticism to get to the hoop. But he's not as strong as LeBron James, and he may never be as strong as LeBron James. And if that's the case, what is his next step offensively to be a consistent scorer at the rim? And that's what I'm kind of struggling to see from Ben Simmons moving forward. At 23, 24, 25, he should have another counter to his offensive game when he's attacking downhill. And you can see he has very little change of pace. He has almost no wiggle. So I'm watching these games this year, and I'm seeing some of the same stuff we've seen over the course of his career. And it's manifests itself in a lot of easy misses around the rim. So I would like to see the coaching staff work with Ben more on being a little more finesse around the rim, using the change of pace, a little wiggle, and get him to kind of just stop the consistent, running through a brick wall kind of thing, because, it was ugly tonight, and it's been ugly for most of the year. His finishing around the rim has been, in general, not as good as it can be. So, again, it's something to keep an eye on. That does not change the fact that Ben is a phenomenal player, a top-tier overall NBA player. But offensively, you want to see things in his arsenal that he can expand upon to be a more complete offensive player. And so far this year, that has not been the case.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons finished with 11 points, 4 of 13 from the floor. He did take a three. He missed it. Looked pretty confident taking that three. Yep. 5 turnovers compared to 2 assists. That's not going to get it done. Let's go to our players of the game. I'm looking at Joel Embiid's stat, 20 points and 12 boards. That has to be one of the quietest 20 points and 12 boards performances.
For clarity, I swear 8 of those came within that, what was basically garbage time within the last 4 minutes of that quarter.
Yeah.
So.
All right, player of the game is by far Tyrese Maxey, 16 points, NBA career high for a game. Tiago, what was your take on Tyrese Maxey tonight?
Yeah, the people are going to go to the offensive end, and I think rightfully so, because I thought Maxey's jump shot is becoming the storyline of the early season. It looks smooth. It looks really good. But to me, I go to the defensive end, and I thought that tonight was Maxey's best defensive game by a long stretch. I try to pay close attention to him off the ball. He was super aware, rotating the right guys, contesting guys at the three-point line, and he was very, very engaged. He was very good. You can start seeing the length have an impact on guys. He had a couple of steals tonight, really made some great plays on the ball. So, offensively, he's going to be hit or miss at some nights. He's going to hit some nights he's not. But if he can give you this type of defensive effort and consistency, now we really got something, a guy who can really play for, 20, 25 minutes a night. So I thought Maxey for me tonight was phenomenal.
What about you, Joey? Player of the game?
Yeah, I'm going to go with co-players of the game with Tyrese and Shake, because if Shake didn't have those 22 points, this game might have been even uglier.
It would have been a disaster.
This game would have been a disaster without him. He was as steady as he could possibly be. Just playing with purpose, knocking down open shots when he needed to, distributing the ball pretty well. He played as well as he could possibly do. And like Thiago said with Tyrese, this was probably his best all-around game of the season so far.
Yep.
The jump shot looked good. He pulled up from 3 without any hesitation whatsoever. The mid-range game was good, was on point. The floater game was on point, and on defense, he was being a pest. So that's all you could. That's all you could ask for from him. So on an overall terrible night, at least we got some a good Tyrese and Shake game.
Yep.
And just one more point on that, because you can see Doc's confidence with Tyrese growing. So in that second quarter, when he subbed in a lot of the starters, Tyrese stayed on the court.
Yep.
So he was riding Tyrese hard in that second quarter, and he earned the minutes, man. Maxey has been phenomenal these last week or so.
So my question to you, Tiago, and that's kind of the big thing that's starting to evolve. Well, it's not starting to. We talked a lot about this in the preseason as well, is who is on the ball with Shake and Tyrese. These are 2 guys that have looked terrific in the pick and roll. If you're Doc Rivers, how do you balance who is leading the pick and roll between Shake Milton on the bench, Tyrese Maxey on the bench, and or starting line. Like, how does that mesh, and what does that look like moving forward?
So if both guys are going to come in off the bench at the same time, I think there's a lot of value for Shake to play off the ball. I think Shake's jump shot is really good, and he shot over 40% off the catch threes last year on over 100 attempts. So I'm sorry.
It's not happening this year, though.
I mean, it's still early, Chris, and he's going to hit those. He's got a good shot, man. I really think he can be a really good shooter in the NBA, and I like him off the catch, just getting wide open looks. And I think Maxey can generate a lot of those looks. Now, we talked about this during the game, and I'll say the same stat again because I think it's worth mentioning one more time. I went back and looked during the game. So Shake Milton coming into tonight scored on 54% of his pick and roll possessions. The only guys who've scored more on pick and roll possessions this year are Kawhi Leonard, Bradley Beal, John Wall, James Harden, and Ja Morant. Sorry. So that's it. That's all the guys have scored. So that gives you an idea of the player that Shake Milton's turned into. Again, I'm not putting him in that category, but you can't dismiss Shake's ability to come downhill off the screen, and he has a tremendous finish with both hands at the rim. So, there's a lot for Doc to play there with those two guys, and it's exciting, man, because that's the center of what Doc wants to get on offensively is ball handlers that can score and play off screens, and those guys have done that all year, and they're young and they're cheap, man. That's exciting.
Yeah. They could use one more perimeter guy like him, but that's maybe a little more elite
right.
at that kind of stuff. But for right now, Shake is getting the job done, and no matter who they get, he's still going to be valuable in that sort of role.
They need a shooter. Like a guy who I would love off the bench is like Otto Porter Jr. Just get him from the Bulls. He's in the last year of his contract. Have him come off the bench for 25, 30 minutes a night. You may have to give up like a pick and stuff, match some salaries, but he's a great guy you can put on there off the bench and gives you that scoring that right now they don't have consistently with Korkmaz out.
I'm a huge fan of his. Rodney Hood would be so great.
Yeah,
Rodney Hood bench on this team, just as a shot maker you can give the ball to.
Yep.
All right, let's go into team grades. How would you grade tonight's performance, Joey?
I mean that was a D game. That was a D.
What?
Well, F. All right, I was trying to be nice.
Where did the D come from?
That was an F. That was an F game. I mean, that burn the tape and just forget about it.
You don't get points for showing up. That's on
I was trying to be nice about it. I didn't. I mean,
there's no participation trophies in the end
because I did like what I saw from Tyrese and Shake, and I thought maybe that could boost up a little bit. But everyone else just gave absolutely poor effort overall.
19 turnovers from the starters. F. What about you, Tiago?
I'll give it an obvious F, but I can change this grade to like a C- if they come out on Saturday and just blow Denver off the door, just blow them out the building. Yeah. Then I'll be like, you know what? They took the night off, but they were ready to play Denver. They came out and just freaking, destroyed them.
That's the thing. If they come out lethargic again on Saturday,
then this
is going to look even worse.
Like, what are we doing, man? You took a night off, and now you come here and you do this nonsense. And Denver plays like no defense. Like Denver is one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA by far. So
the weirdest moment in this game came when it was, I think, the end of the third quarter, early fourth quarter, when by far, I don't know what the stats are, Tiago, but it seemed like from watching the game, Dwight Howard, Maxey, Matthias, Thibault, and Isaiah Joe were by far the biggest pluses in this game. That lineup combination was by far the most effective lineup they had going tonight. And they actually made a dent into into this game and actually made it like an 8-point game at one point. And that's just a really funny fact. I'm not saying I'm not turning that into
that's such an indictment on how bad the starting lineup was.
It was bad. The starting lineup was bad. Starting with Seth Curry not playing tonight, starting with the back-to-back, throw it all into the trash can, burn it to the ground, burn it all, move on.
Yes.
Let's talk about final thoughts, Tiago. What are your final thoughts?
I was gonna say when Doc called on Dakota Mathias to come in the second quarter, right? So he should have came in with the white flag and just kind of waved it as he walked into the court.
that was the ultimate surrender move. Like,
Yeah,
I knew they weren't winning this
listen,
game.
I know we got another 2.5 quarters to play, but here's the rest of the.
I was trying to be logical about that move, and I'm like, all right, get an extended rest in the game. Okay, I see that. And then the real Sixer fan of me was like, all right, this is just.
I was trying to look like maybe there's a spacing thing he wants to get done with Matthias, and a minute ago I was like, nah, he's waving the red flag, which I'm okay with, man. Like what? Like I don't put that.
Yeah, but like I said earlier before we started this, I just hate the fact that this is going to feed into every narrative that's going around on Sixers Twitter right now, and I'm going to be hearing about it for the next 48 hours.
Yeah. Final thoughts are like, we went into this game like so hyped up, talking about, is this the most fun team to watch since the 2000 Iverson finals run? We were just gushing over this team offensively, and boom, this happened. It was just one of those like games. We just saw it from the jump. They didn't have it tonight. They were a step behind. Did we do final thoughts for you, Joey? I'm not sure.
I mean, I have no more final thoughts. I'm forgetting about this game.
This is pretty much as bad as it gets. What about you, Tiago? Did you get your final thoughts in?
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing because you expected KD, Kyrie, and the whole show to come in and do the whole big thing. But the Sixers have plenty of opportunities next couple of weeks to prove themselves. Yeah, you look at the schedule. You got Denver, Miami, Boston, Atlanta, Lakers. If they want to show who they are as a team, they have a very good opportunity in January to do that. So stay tuned.
All right, Joey, plugs.
Go give me a follow on @JoeyD_6 on Twitter, or don't. Hopefully, I'll be dropping some more content now that my time's a little freer nowadays. So be on the lookout for that, and go give me a follow.
Tiago.
Yeah, so I'm writing a piece about Zach LaVine because I think Zach LaVine has shown tremendous growth this year as a player. And that's a name Sixers fans should get used to because there could be a path for Zach LaVine to be a Sixers in the future. And then I'm also writing about why I think Joel Embiid is the early season Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So look out for that.
All right. Lastly, thank you, everybody here who commented, liked, and subscribed tonight. The comments were flowing all night long. We have the best fan base here by far, and real rational basketball fans, which is more than we could ever ask for. I think we only had one. As bad as that was tonight, I think we only had one Trade Ben comment, and that was like,
wow, on a night like tonight.
I mean, the fact we got one is still bad.
I mean, he was atrocious tonight. I'm surprised there was only one.
Progress, guys. We're talking about progress. So I just want to say thank you, everybody here, for watching. Please be sure to go follow us on Twitter @ThePainted Go check us out at thepaintedlines.com. Please be sure to subscribe. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Make sure you follow my man Joey D on Twitter @JoeyD_6 and my man Tiago @TScabia. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you Saturday night. Next time, stay awesome.